Hello everyone, I'm Emily, and my biggest obstacle in life is my horrible looks. I might seem shallow when I say this, but seriously, my struggle is very real. My face is not only ugly, but it also looks extremely weird. My eyes are way far from each other, so are my eyebrows, and my nose and mouth do not match any of my features. Not to mention my very light colour hair that looks very plain and makes my face look even more pale than it already is. Even though I got used to people staring at me like I'm some sort of an alien, it still got to me every time. I was always reminded of how ugly I looked and it hurt me so much. I was like an outcast, and no one ever made an effort to be friends with me. I was so lonely and I had to surrender to my sad reality and lived day by day. Despite my struggle with myself, people never gave me a break. They always asked me questions like, what's wrong with your face? And do you have a medical condition that makes you look like that? Even worse, some people didn't even bother to remember my name, and they just called me the weird-looking girl. I felt constant humiliation and wished that I could just disappear. I tried to make things better by using makeup and covering my face with hair, but nothing really worked. I became hopeless, and with time, grew to believe this horrible reality I will have to live until the last day of my life. This struggle kept going, until one day a guy at school recorded a video of me sitting alone, and he said, "Look how this ugly girl is sitting by herself." And then he quickly pointed the camera at a group of girls next to me and said, "Pretty girls, on the other hand, have friends." I wanted to stop him, but anything I would say on video would make things worse, so I just packed up my stuff and held my tears back as I walked away. Later on, that video was on social media, which encouraged the whole school to call me the ugly girl. After this incident, I was so depressed. I would sit in my room for hours to avoid contact with others. I skipped many school days and kept wishing that someday I'll wake up with a pretty face. Until one day, my wish unexpectedly came true. And no, I didn't undergo a plastic surgery. It was something much better. It all started when a photographer was invited to our school as a guest. He gave us a lecture and talked about the nature of his job. He mainly majored in capturing faces. He took pictures of faces from all over the world and was constantly amazed by how different and special people's features are. He explained that beauty is more complex than we might think. Beauty is all about the small details that we don't pay attention to from the first glance. And some people might seem ugly at first, but they in fact are very beautiful, like an art painting that takes time to analyze in order to see its beauty. I was listening to him when suddenly the photographer pointed at me and asked for my name. I said, "It's Emily." Then he told me to come and stand next to him in front of the class. Feeling very nervous, I got up and stood with shaking legs. The photographer said, "Emily's face serves as a great example of the kind of beauty I'm talking about. Her features are very artistic and unique, and this kind of face is rare like diamonds." The whole class looked at me, and they started laughing. Everyone basically knew me as the ugly girl, and hearing that someone thought I was beautiful must have sounded like a good joke. To my surprise, the photographer said with a loud voice, "Quiet! You have no idea how beautiful she is considered in the world of art. In fact, more than any of you. She caught my eye from the moment I walked into class." He then started explaining why I was beautiful, and the class seemed to agree with him the more he went on about it. However, I didn't feel comfortable, and I just wanted everyone to stop staring at my face. In an awkward moment, I went back to my seat and I tried to stay invisible for the rest of the class. Later that day, as I was leaving school, some of my classmates started talking to me and telling me how pretty I am, and how they can't understand how they did not see this from the start, and that they would like to be friends with me. I was shocked by this drastic change, and after that day, somehow I wasn't lonely anymore. I felt more confident because people at school started seeing me differently, and I even started dating Peter, a boy in my class. Even though people changed their perception of me, I still couldn't understand the reason why that photographer thought I was beautiful. I had a very low self-esteem, and I still saw myself ugly, no matter what everyone thought. I spent my whole life thinking I was ugly, so I am not going to change my mind so easily. One day I was hanging at Peter's place and he hugged me in front of the mirror and told me that I looked so beautiful. I was looking at myself in the mirror and all I could see was this ugly girl, so I asked him to tell me why he thinks I look pretty and what made him change his mind. His answer was shocking. This is how he explained it to me. You have a pair of special eyes that glow every time you smile. The line near your left eye extends to your upper nose that, if you look closely at your face, you can see the small details. While he was explaining all this to me, I was also changing my mind, and I found myself really pretty. So he leaned and whispered this into my ear. Your beauty is not simple. It is complex, just like great paintings. It can only be truly understood by experts. Peter then turned my head towards him and kissed me. What I want to share with you about my experience is that while we might think we're ugly, it doesn't mean we are. Sometimes our beauty can only be understood by experts. Your face could be a masterpiece, but it needs an expert eye to understand it. So share your photo everywhere with the hashtag masterpiece.